Hello guys, and welcome back to the weekly market review. Like every week, we're gonna look at what opportunities the market will give us this week. We're gonna look at the good trades, we're gonna look at the bad trades, we're gonna see what kind of things, what kind of trades can we set up, which ones should we avoid. So the first one on the list is gonna be GBP AUD. Like always, we're gonna go through the Forex majors minors first, and then we're gonna go to the equities. So first one on the list is GBP AUD on the 4-hour time frame, and we are looking at a short on this resistance. So previously we can see we had a double top here on that resistance, and we did break that previous low. We didn't quite break it too much. I mean, it looks like more of a fake breakout, but we did make a new low over there. And now we're having a pullback. You can see it's a really tight channel. So usually when we get pullbacks like this, we'll have another big drop. So for example, maybe an example would be like this, right? So you can see a pullback and we have a big drop. Pullback, big drop. Pullback, big drop. Longer pullback, another drop. So that's a very common pattern you'll see as you have these forms of consolidation in the market, and eventually it'll break out of that consolidation and then just fall down. So similar thing we can happen, or we could see right now, is prices going into this level here, retest these previous highs, and then fall down into these lows over here. So that's a pattern you can see on this trade. We can see this trade already played out twice. This will be the third time. That'll be the last time you guys should be taking this trade. Again, if the level hits too often, that level is gonna get weaker. It's like someone banging on the door. They're trying to open the door, it doesn't open. Eventually, when they, hit it hard enough, that door eventually will break open. So it's the same thing with these levels. The more often they hit, the weaker they get. Over time, they might just break. So this one played out twice. Third time is good. Fourth time, you want to skip. This is a trade I've set up as well. Looks fine to me. Next up, we're moving to CAD JPY on the daily chart. This is a long swing setup, so this would be a buy. We went through this one last week already, so we did go into the entry. We hit TP1, TP2, great. So now, really, I think this trade played out, I think, quite a few times at this point. So this will be first, second, maybe even 3 times. This would be the 4th time, I'm not quite sure. We could draw this out and see. So this here is our entry. This here is our TP. So entry got hit. You could say this one didn't hit, but this here would be the first, second, and then we're coming down for the third. So third time is still fine. It does look like it's consolidating, so use a little more caution. I would say if you already profited in this one, no need to set it up again. It just doesn't look that clean at this point. It's a very tight level, tight zone. So I think there's better trades we can see and find. But if you had this one set up, great. You hit TP1, TP2, good job. We'll move on to AUD NZD. This is also a long swing setup. It's right around the entry right now, actually. And we did mention this trade last week as well, but price was just going up. So not right now is just got into entries here. We're retesting this broken level right here, right now, and hopes we're gonna go up here. So if you still have this set up, it's fine, you can keep it. I still think this is a fine trade. And we also got AUD CAD, another AUD pair with a very similar setup. You can see very nice rejection here as well. We just hit TP1 on this trade as well. So great, yeah, if you put your entry here, you just hit TP1. Probably this week you'll be on the way to TP2, hopefully. If not, you have another chance for another entry here. And then we can enter these trades multiple times, right? You don't have to just enter once. After 3 times and then called quits. If it's more than 3 times, usually the probability was lower. Or you could see, if your data says 2 times and then your probability is lower, that's fine as well. But I've seen personally 3 times is usually a good number. But if you want to have it at 2 to have a better probability, that's fine as well. That's just my opinion. So this one is hit TP1. Looks like we had quite a few trades last week hit TP1 and TP2, so that's always good to see. And that's pretty much it what we have for Forex. So we got GBP AUD, CAD JPY, and then these 2 AUD pairs that are in entry or going to TPs. Now we can move on to the equities. So let's see what equities have going on for us this week. We'll just switch to filters, equity US, and of course we have a ton of opportunities. So first one we got is Microsoft on the 1 hour. This is a long setup. So Microsoft is actually looking not too bad. We had a really nice dip down here over the last couple of days. Of course, kind of depends how it opens. But here we had a nice structure formed that we can play off. So I think this, in my opinion, is a good entry. We broke the previous high here as well. We broke this previous high, made a new high, pull back here. This would be a good entry to go further up. So I think this is a good trade on Microsoft in the 1 hour. I'm actually going to flag this, and then we can go into Netflix. Next, Netflix had a really good pump. And it's just giving us a re-entry. So this is really good re-entry level. We made a new high. We really broke out of this whole mess down here. Made a really good high. Broke this previous high over here. Made a new high here. And now we're trying to form a support here and then go further up. So this is looking like a fine trade for me as well. Again, if you like a trade, you can mark them so you know which ones you should be taking. So let's move on to Amazon on 4 hour. This would be the next trade we're looking at. Let's see what it's setting up for us. Okay, so this is actually a short on Amazon. This would be the third time. So this was the first, second, and then this would be the third. Really, we're playing this consolidation, right? So you can see this is our resistance. This is our support. So price has been bouncing in between, for quite some time. So it's been bouncing in between these levels for quite some time. So the goal here is to just repeat what it did before. Sell here and then take profit here. Sell here and then take profit here. So we're just repeating a pattern that the market gave us previously. And we want to, sell here and then take profit here. Really very simple setup. We're just playing the range. So this looks like a fine setup for me as well. Let's flag it and then move on to weed. So this one, I believe we talked about last week as well. This is a 4 hour setup, a long position, and we didn't get down to the entry yet. So for the past, few days, I think, so this is the second. So pretty much from the 15th all the way to the 22nd, we've been consolidating in this range. So usually this means it's, either accumulating or distributing. So we can have it pop up or we can have it pop down. Whatever direction it'll take, if it pops up, then we'll miss the trade. But if it pops down, then we can get our entry here. And then we can have this one on daily. ATVI is the next one we have on the daily. I believe we also talked about this one last week. Looks like we actually went into the entries. So we went into the entries, we hit TP1 and we hit TP2. Perfect, really good. And actually looks like we want to move a little higher. So this one, we hit TP. Good job, guys. Let's move on to CCL. CCL, I believe we also talked about last week. Let's see how that one played out. This one is a short. So it's right around the entries right now. Looks like a good entry. I don't know how it will open. Might open a little higher, might open a little lower. But this does look like a good entry. Again, with shorting stocks, you want to be a little more careful. You don't be too aggressive on shorting stocks because, over the long term, stocks generally go up. So you do want to be a little more careful when shorting these stocks. Next up, we got FIT, FIT for Fitbit. This is also a position we had for a short. Looks like we hit TP1. Great, so we hit TP1, waiting for TP2. And this would be the first time. So if you want to get into this trade again, you can. Just set your sell limits here. It still looks like a fine trade. So FIT hit TP1 as well. Let's move on to GM. General Motors, we also hit TP1. So this was a TP, this was TP1. If you want to go in for the repeat, totally fine. You can do that as well. Next, we got NCLH. Let's see what we have here. So right now, in slight drawdown, it's still below our entry, which is totally fine. Stop loss is down here just below that support. We can see that support has been holding previously really well. So yeah, if price does go back above, you can set your buy limit here. That'll still be a good trade. And we're just waiting for TP1 to be hit on this one. Or of course, it could also go to stop loss. We don't know. Next up, we got PFE. I believe we also covered this one last week. This is one of those that I didn't like just because we were in this weird consolidation, in this weird range. And we're kind of selling at the bottom of the range. So I didn't quite like this one. I don't know if we hit entries. So this was the entry here was January 11th. Was that last week? So yeah, that was a couple of weeks ago. So it did hit TP1, but this was not the trade we covered last week. But yeah, for me, this one, I don't like it because we're at the bottom of this range here. So, or at the support. So we could, move up higher from here. Again, something we don't know. But for me, it's just not the best trade, not the cleanest trade to take. So now let's move on to PGHH. Procter & Gamble. This is a long setup. This trade is a little choppy. It's quite a tight range, in my opinion. And we've seen this resistance. So far, it's holding. We've kind of like chopping around this level here. So if we zoom out a bit, let's see, maybe it'll make it a little clearer. Yeah, you can see it's getting really tight here. So it is preparing for a bigger move. I mean, hopefully it's to the upside. I really don't have an opinion on this trade. So If for me personally, if I don't have an opinion on the trade, that just means I don't know what's going on. It's just not that clean. You know, obviously we have this channel here, but it's very messy. You know, you can see these huge pumps just randomly happening. It's like we got this big drop here, we got a spike here. I don't know if that's just a data feed or if that's actually what the stock is doing. So you got these large pumps and drops, pumps and dumps on this chart. So that's why I don't really know what's going on here, to be honest, which that's fine. You know, we don't always have to know. If we don't know, we don't trade. That's just it. So because of these pumps and dumps, I'm just going to say I'm going to be staying out on this one. There's really no reason to set this up. Doesn't look like a really predictable stock to trade. And you guys have to realize that not every trade should be taken. You know, if the chart is choppy or messy, just stay out. There's really no point for us to put money on the line if it's not clean. We only want to take the best trades. We want to take the things we're certain in. So always compare, you know, the charts. Make sure it's clean. Make sure it's trending. Make sure it's not choppy. Make sure it's not consolidating. And yeah, that's just some of the basics you should be looking out for. So let's move on to plug. Plug is a long setup also on the daily, and we didn't get back into an entry from last week, so you can still keep your orders. Just wait for price to come back. If it doesn't come back, if it breaks this resistance, then you can take it off. Moving on to TLRY looks like it hasn't gone back into entries just yet, so it had a really nice pump. We're just waiting for it to go back into entries. If you have your buy limits on this, you can still keep them. Next up, we got Twitter. So Twitter is a short we talked about last week as well. Looks like we didn't go into entries just yet. It's just coming back now. If it does come back here, good. I think this would be a good short, especially with all these longs. Would be a good kind of hedge if you want to set up a hedge trade for shorting in equity and tech. And that's pretty much all the trades we have for this week. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys found this helpful, and I hope you guys are able to set up some good trades for the week. And congrats if you hit your TPs for this week. Put your comments down below if you've set up any trades last week and hit TP. We'd love to hear, you know, if this is actually helpful, if you're actually, you know, hitting TPs. So if you're performing, if you're having fun, let me know in the comments. And then if you guys have any other questions, you can put them in the comments below as well. Like always, tomorrow we're gonna have a weekly Q&A. Like always, tomorrow we're gonna have our weekly Q&A at 2:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Now, just a heads up, that time might change in the near future. Maybe next week or the week after, we'll announce a new time, so that'll change. But if there's a change, once that change is made, you guys will be the first ones to know, and it'll be published into our Telegram channel. So give this video a thumbs up. Thanks for watching. My name is Patrick. Bye bye.